们大概架好开始访问，还真的是11点了。
哦，对对对，对，这是前期的作业时间。
Where do you want me to look?
You can just look your wife because that camera
Okay.
will shoot you
Yeah,
directly.
so you don't have, yeah, you just look at this. Look at me, actually,
Yeah.
I just
when you talk.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Just look at me when you
Make
talk.
sure you're
Like,
into the thing. Right.
yeah, I am. Yeah.
那提问的人会入镜吗？
等一下，这边的话会，
会哦。
对，然后这样子的会，然后那个是单独他回答的时候这样，那他就看他比较解哪一个部分。
OK OK。所以这边是提问的人跟回答人都会入镜，
然后
那边是只有回答的人入镜。
That's
It's
a
a
good
good
idea.
idea. No, it's a good idea to have two cameras
Yeah.
so that they,
They can
rather than
choose.
just
Yeah,
focusing
right.
on one person,
Very
you
cool.
can have variety of footage.
Okay, so you
Go.
can start in any time.
Okay.
Okay.
No third camera?
Yeah, just photo.
Oh, okay.
然后我们就保持安静。
Okay. We can start.
Are you filming already?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
All right. Well, thank you, Mr. Chunbalau, for your time. We have a few questions for you regarding Taiwan's participation in the World Health Organization. Why do you think Taiwan should attend the World Health Assembly and join the World Health Organizations? What is the reasons for Taiwan to participate in these organizations? And also, why should the international community support Taiwan's participation in the World Health Organizations and Assembly?
Yeah. Let me first state that it's outrageous that Taiwan doesn't participate in the World Health Organization today and in the annual meeting of the World Health Assembly in the end of May, about a month from today. And I think it's outrageous that Taiwan doesn't participate, and it's even more outrageous that China blocks Taiwan's participation. Really, what China does is play politics with the lives of the 23 million people of Taiwan. They play politics. They prefer politics over the welfare of the 23 million people of Taiwan. After all, disease doesn't stop at the borders. We had the SARS epidemic in Taiwan about 15 years ago. We have bird flu in Taiwan. We have enteroviruses every summer in Taiwan where babies die. And China doesn't seem to care at all about this. They rather stick to their narrow-minded politics. Health knows no borders. Disease does not stop at the border. And so it is critical that Taiwan participates in this world movement to promote health for the people around the world, and that is one of the WHO's goals. Imagine if somebody gets on a plane in Taipei carrying SARS and stops, flies to New York, flies to Washington DC, flies to Houston, Cincinnati, all hell will break loose. Everyone in these American cities will catch the SARS virus. So it's not just in Taiwan's interest that Taiwan joins the WHO, it's in the interest of the world. It's in the interest of the whole world that Taiwan participates, eventually as a full member of the WHO. And so Taiwan itself can contribute tremendously to the World Health Organization. Taiwan has first-rate health specialists who can all make the WHO better. So that's another reason why Taiwan should join the WHO. So what I recommend to the people of Taiwan and to Taiwan's government is that instead of relying completely on the United States, that Taiwan builds a coalition of the willing, as it's called, of countries who love Taiwan, like the United States, Japan, Canada, Australia, South Korea, and that they jointly stand up against China's bullying of Taiwan. That coalition of the willing jointly stands up against China's bullying of Taiwan in the international community. not just in the WHO, but also in the ICAO, the Civil Aviation Organization, in all these international organizations. We started with the we at FAPA started with a United Nations for Taiwan campaign in the early 90s, but we felt that the reason for Taiwan to join the United Nations was not as critical, not as poignant as Taiwan joining these more functional international organizations like the WHO, like indeed the International Civil Aviation Organization.
Yeah. It's not just a symbolic gesture, but it brings actual benefits to the people of Taiwan and, like you said, the world.
Taiwan cannot be outside these organizations. The world cannot afford to let Taiwan be outside the WHO, outside the ICAO, the International Civil Aviation Organization, and all these functional organizations. So what I suggested to the State Department is that they should tell the Chinese, if you don't let Taiwan join the WHA, the World Health Assembly, in the end of May, that the United States should send the Secretary of Health and Human Services to Taiwan to study Taiwan's wonderful health system. And let the Chinese pick. Years ago, when Gro Harlem Brundtland was the Secretary General of the World Health Organization, I asked her in a forum in Washington, D.C., and I said, why don't you let Taiwan join the World Health Organization, your organization? And she said, that's not up to me to decide. You have to work it out with China. So I think that is a wise lesson for us. Don't rely too much on the World Health Organization itself, but Taiwan has to work it out with the Chinese. And again, a coalition of the willing have to jointly stand up in international organizations like the WHO, like the ICAO, like Interpol, to jointly stand up against China and make sure that China opens the door for Taiwan in these functional international organizations, which will eventually lead to full membership in these organizations, and which will eventually lead to Taiwan proudly walking into the door of these organizations, including the top organization, the United Nations. Good enough? Helpful? Did I miss anything? Okay, good. Jin Ho?
今后
Okay.
非常的好。
Okay, can you just repeat the first question? Just question.
Okay.
It's not. Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because for the very beginning, like 3 or 4 seconds for this one, doesn't
okay.
record.
Oh,
So you just
okay.
repeat
Yes,
the question.
just repeat
It's
the
good.
question. Why do you think Taiwan should join the World Health Organization and participate in the World Health Assembly? And why should the international community support Taiwan's participation? Sorry, can I say that again? Okay.
Hold on.
Why do you think Taiwan should join the World Health Organization and participate, attend the World Health Assembly? And why should the international community support the participation of Taiwan in the World Health Organizations and Assembly?
Okay.
Maybe I could say one more thing, because I
I
think
wanted to ask you, because you said the coalition of the willing.
yeah,
But you need a leader to lead this coalition, and that's why it's so critical
has to be Taiwan.
to Taiwan and
Taiwan needs to
also
lead
the
it.
U.S.
Yeah.
But U.S. you need somebody in the international community to support Taiwan, because
Yeah.
you cannot just have a coalition with just the U.S.
Right.
If you don't have the U.S. and you don't have the coalition,
right.
yeah.
But
Because
I think
goes
that,
to
but I think I
Fapa's
mentioned that
vote.
coalition, United States, Canada,
Right.
Australia,
Okay.
South Korea.
Yeah.
But one more thing, Shi-Chi, is that
Should we start recording or?
Yeah, we can
Oh,
do
okay.
it again.
Yeah.
So you want from very beginning or
No, not the whole
This
thing.
is like
I think
additional.
everything is
Okay.
fine. I was just